Afternoon, everyone who's joined this 14th edition of Sports Talk 757, produced by the Hampton Roads Sports Commission and the Hampton Roads Chamber. We first like to thank our sponsors, Atlantic Bay Mortgage, CHKD Sports Medicine, Talon Bank, Pepsi, and Optima Health for their support. Our municipal partners, City of Norfolk, City of Chesapeake, and City of Virginia Beach, for continuously supporting the Sports Commission. We have with us today a good friend, a colleague, good football mind, and a really great leader and mentor over at Norfolk State University, Coach Latrell Scott. Been at Virginia State, been at Richmond, successful at Norfolk State. Coach, good afternoon to you.
Hey, Claudell, appreciate you having me on, man. Great to see you.
Good, man. And Coach Scott's done some really nice things in the community, on campus, and really in this region as relates to football, more than just coaching. And it's certainly been affected by this pandemic, as have we all. So we'll talk a little bit more about that and some of the things that he has going on with this program. But first, Coach, good afternoon to you. We first scheduled this thinking that we're going to kind of get this live, this exclusive, as he's on the bus, as he's getting out of the locker room, as he's yelling at the equipment guy, getting ready for Saturday, and then bam, here we are. No football season. How has this affected you, and how's this kind of affected the program, and how are you guys taking it?
Well, Claudell, it's been difficult. Obviously, when you're of the mindset, our team, obviously our fall season was canceled, and we decided as a conference to play in the spring, and our guys came back in January, geared up towards that, and as things just continued to happen and different factors came about, our president, our athletic director, myself got together and just thought about what was best for our students. Those guys are the focal points of every decision that we make, and we just couldn't see in good common sense with the pandemic still, being an issue, with our inability to practice, because of some COVID related issues. We just couldn't make sense of forging the season forward. So we kind of shifted gears and we put ourselves in a winter conditioning mode so that way we could protect our guys. There's no travel and there's no game cancellation if we have to have any issues. It didn't go over very well with my team, but ultimately, as being a head coach, you have to make tough decisions, and they've rebounded and responded. And it's our challenge as a coaching staff to keep those guys engaged and interested going into spring practice.
Well, that's a good word you use, engagement there. How are you and your staff, what kind of strategies you putting together to kind of keep the guys at a high level of academics, a high level of physical preparedness, and a high level of competitiveness, even with no games?
We met this morning, and believe me, we're taking advice and anything from anywhere. But we're trying to just get our guys back into our normal system. We've got a system that's been in place for winter conditioning in the spring for the last few years, and that's been off just a bit because we were prepared for the season. But academically, we're still monitoring our situations. The online courses make it a little bit more difficult, but we're very fortunate to have a great academic group downstairs that manages our guys in terms of class and study hall and those things. So we're staying on top of that, because obviously when you take sports away, it can make football. When you take sports away, it can make academics a little bit tougher in terms of keeping those guys interested, as we said, but they've done a good job with that. And then with the football piece, I think as long as we can get them in the weight room and we can get them out on the field for some football type of workouts, then we can keep them going. I think the worst thing that we could possibly do is have them sitting around doing nothing. So, we've continued the same testing protocols that we've had just to keep our guys safe and in place. And we're kind of doing what we would do in a normal winter transition in the spring.
Well, you mentioned the players and the measures and the strategies and the openness to suggestions that you had about keeping the players going in the right direction. How did the coaches stay top of mind, and how do they stay sharp in a time like this and stay motivated to professionally develop?
It's difficult, Claudell, and it's not just us. I guarantee you that there's been more communication amongst college football coaches than there ever been. Starting back in the last spring to the summer, through the fall, throughout the winter. There's a ton of communication, a ton of professional development amongst us as a coaching fraternity. I've spent time with Coach Ronnie from Old Dominion talking about everything from how are you getting in and out of the locker room to how are you washing clothes to what are you doing on 3rd and 1. So I think just finding a way to stay sharp and to stay focused, and the best tonic for us is having our guys around. It's as important for us to have our team around as it is for those guys to have us around. We were able to get back outside on the practice field yesterday, for the first time in about 2.5 weeks. And it just felt therapeutic to us all, just to, guys moving around, guys being competitive, getting after each other. That's what we do. And, when we have the football piece, it definitely makes the academic piece and the mental piece that much better.
So, when you say that, what are some of the things that the players are doing? And so is there going to be, scrimmages going on this spring, or is it going to be some things open to the public? What exactly are you guys going to kind of culminate the spring with?
Yeah, so in terms of what we're doing, obviously, we usually go through an 8-week winter conditioning phase, which usually runs from January to mid-March. And in mid-March, we start spring football. And in that 30-day span from, I think it's March 16th or April 17th, we'll have 15 practices with 3 scrimmages. Now, generally, our scrimmages would be open to the public, but, with all the limitations and the rules and all those things, I'm not sure that we're going to do that. We would follow, obviously, state and campus guidelines. But the main thing to me would be just to be able to get those guys out. And I think I looked it up today. It's been, 400 and something days since we played South Carolina State, which was November 2019. And we've only had 1 padded practice since then. So just to be able to get those guys back out and to be able to tackle somebody, to see if you can make somebody miss and, to score a touchdown or get an interception, I think that's very important to our development. But in as much, we're going to take the spring and develop some young guys and enhance the talents of the older guys. And hopefully we'll be ready to go when September comes around.
When you talk about that kind of time span, 2019, obviously there's a recruiting cycle there, there's a year there, there's an academic cycle there. What has been your message to players who have lost that last year, who have lost time, or who have missed on that NFL dream, or, missed on some of that season they were so looking forward to as seniors or fifth-year guys? What have you done to kind of console them and help them in their transition?
Well, we've been very fortunate because at our level, they've given our guys the ability to come back. So anyone who would have been a senior who would have played this spring or this fall or this particular spring has the ability to come back next season. And we're very fortunate, as I told someone the other day, that our entire group of seniors wants to come back and we want them back. So that's always a give and take in terms of that. And it says that, what we've been able to do as a program, that our guys feel comfortable staying. Our guys want to come back. They've been together, and we feel like we're on the cusp of doing something special, and all those guys want to be a part of it. I think the thing that it's affected more than anything else, and you brought this up, is just the recruiting piece. The young people in the class of 2021, there are very limited scholarship opportunities for a lot of good football players because you do have the seniors on these teams that are coming back. The NCAA kind of, when they said, hey, you can bring your seniors back, we'll give you a few more scholarship numbers, but our universities aren't able to give you more scholarship dollars. So in as much as they may increase the number that you can have, you still have a budget that you have to maintain. So it's really, really affected the guys that are seniors in high school now. And I know here in the state of Virginia, I think some of those guys are scheduled to kick off this weekend. And, it's very fortunate that those guys are going to get the opportunity to play. But I think that's the group that's been biggest hit. And I think we found out yesterday that the dead period is going to extend through March 31st, so it's either March 31st or May 31st. So you're still looking at, we haven't been out to see, a group of prospects in almost 2 years now. So it's been difficult. It's been a lot of Zoom calls, a lot of video evaluation, but it's really affected the high school guys, and you feel for them and their families and their coaches.
I was certainly going to ask about that, and you answered and spilled into a number of the next questions. But, how do you feel about this area as this so-called hotbed? We've talked to a number of coaches, and they've kind of agreed on that. You and I have talked offline, off camera before, and kind of like this area. But, how do you feel about the 757's recruiting capability and bounds? And then how have you gone about being able to, recruit student athletes from here?
Well, first, you can't be from the 757, which you are, and call it so-called. I mean, it's legit. It's a hotbed. I believe that it's one of the most talent-rich areas in the country, and I think it's very well represented in all sports. Basketball, football, baseball. As people say, there's something in the water. I'm a Richmond guy. I'm an 804 guy. I think the entire state of Virginia has produced top talent for years. But when we got to Norfolk State, the thing that we wanted to make sure that we did is we approached our situation from a local and then a regional and then a national standpoint in terms of recruiting. It makes perfect sense for me to go to Lake Taylor, to go to Oscar Smith, to go to Deep Creek, to go to Hampton High, to go to Phoebus, to go to Bethel, and then to go to Richmond, to Highland Springs and Hermitage and LC Bird and those places, because those are the people that people are used to seeing play on Friday nights. And a lot of people, if you've seen Juwan Carter play on a Friday night and win 2 state championships, a lot of those same people are at Dick Price watching him play on Saturday. So it was very important for us to recruit the 757 first and then kind of venture up 64 to Richmond. And then we figure the rest out from there. And if you look at our roster, a ton of our key contributors are from those areas. And that doesn't knock any other state or area of the country, but it just makes sense based on where we are to make those 2 areas, our base.
So you mentioned the end of March. So you feel like you should be back up and running full speed in terms of recruiting, after March, or is there still kind of obstacles and roadblocks in the way?
Well, they've pushed it back, 3 or 4 times. This thing's been going on. It was December, then it was February. Now it's either March or May. It just came out this morning, but we hope so, because part of our enjoyment in the spring is being able to get out into the high schools to watch the guys practice, watch the guys work out, spend time around the coaches that you don't get the opportunity to see. I've got very good friends in this region that are high school coaches, and I hadn't seen them, just based on everything that's going on. So hopefully, with the vaccine and with everything that people are doing, we're in a situation to be able to possibly get back to something close to normal in terms of recruiting and being able to do that. Because if you don't, then obviously, there's a lag in your program, there are holes, because, we need these 757 guys and these 804 guys and all these guys that we would usually go out and be in contact with to be here. We're looking at, instead of having a junior day, to where we'd have a couple hundred kids on campus to be able to watch spring practice, we may have to do all that virtually. All the camps and stuff that we would have in the summer, having, kids and coaches at Norfolk State, we haven't been able to do that. So hopefully, as they lift the dead period and we get the vaccine squared away, we can do some of those things.
We talked about a lot about recruiting and the young student athletes or the student athletes in your program. But, Coach, you've also had this coaching tree, as they say a lot of times, in college and NFL, and really have produced some great guys, really recruited some great coaches to your program, and have produced and had guys go on and do some great things. You look at Montario Hardesty, now with South Carolina. You look at Christian Parker with the Denver Broncos, and a number of others that we kind of talked about. How does that make you feel, and how have you been able to advance your leadership and develop your leadership to recruit such great coaches as well?
It's a gift and a curse. You hire good people take them away from you. But I'm so proud and excited for those guys. I've always been of the thought process: hire the best people, teach them everything and if they're here with you for a season, if they're here with you for 2 seasons, then so be it. But I think the key to our coaching staff is everybody who is a member of our coaching staff, there's some type of tie. Montario played for us when I was on the staff at University of Tennessee. Christian played for us when I was on the staff when I was a head coach at Richmond. Christian was one of our players. Christian worked with me at Virginia State, came here to Norfolk State. Montario, it was one of the first calls that we made when we got the job here at Norfolk State. So there's a familiarity with those guys, and it's a relationship beyond coaching. Zon Burden, who just got the receiver job at Maryland yesterday. Zon's one of our players from VMI, and Zon's worked for us at the University of Richmond and spent a ton of time with us over here at Norfolk State. It's a great feeling for me to be able to pick the phone up and call those guys. And, I always tell them one of these days, one of you guys is going to have to hire me. So that's part of my backup plan, as life goes on. But extremely proud of all those guys, and they all have relationships with my wife and my son. It's just it's beyond football for us. And when those guys get those opportunities, we're definitely proud of them.
We talked about VMI, Tennessee, Richmond, Hampton, and in your playing days, Virginia State, success there, and Norfolk State. Now, being here, one of the things people don't know, when you're first on campus with your wife there and in MacArthur Center, I was having a fundraising meeting. I was like, that's got to be him. That's got to be Coach Scott. And lo and behold, the press conference an hour or so later, you showed up. So, it was just awesome to kind of see you come on campus and do what you've done. But, those different schools, those different stops, those experiences, how have you grown as a coach? And how have those experiences led to this head coaching stint at Norfolk State?
Well, you learn something everywhere you go. You have success, you have failure. You learn how to manage different situations. Being at Richmond taught me, how to manage an academic-based situation. Being at VMI really taught me that, hey, you're not going to get the best players, so you're really going to have to evaluate and be able to coach these guys once you get them. Scheme doesn't always matter at Virginia. At VMI, you've got to figure out a way to maximize the type of player that you're going to get. Going to Tennessee and U.Va, that's the ACC, the SEC. It's managing more personalities because those guys are there to play professional football. So you've got to figure out how to manage that receiver room. And JMU, kind of taught me how to recruit the state of Virginia and use partial scholarships and not have to, how to build programs. I learned that from Mickey Matthews, and going back down to Division II really gave me an appreciation of the whole piece, how to manage the equipment, how to know every single phase of the program, because there was nobody there to do it for you. And when I got here at Norfolk, there's a little bit of all those programs in me. And in fact, you bring it up, my son's 7 now, and he was a year old. So that's the reason that we had to kind of stop, before the press conference to get him something to eat, because he was going nuts. And this is the place that he's been for the longest. And, to have him be able to grow up here and know guys, and to understand who Christian is, who Monterio is, and, who our players are, that's been a blessing to just be able to stick here in Norfolk for the past 6 years, because this is the longest that we've ever lived anywhere.
Well, a common person we talk about in the football landscape, Joe Taylor, originally Hampton and a number of other places, now college football Hall of Famer and still a mentor to a lot of people. What does that name mean to you from your dealings with him, and what others maybe who have helped you to kind of get on this college coaching path?
Well, Coach is a legend. I mean, he's the first one that I ever saw do it. I didn't always agree with the way he did it when I was 18, but I really appreciated it at 45, and we laugh because, when I was playing for Coach Taylor, when I was playing for him, he was my age, and we thought he was some kind of old man. So I can imagine how the players feel about us, but very disciplined, very organized, taught us a ton of structure. So, there's a lot of Joe Taylor in every single player that's played for him. Dave Clawson, who was my boss at Richmond. Dave's the head coach at Wake Forest now. Dave's a huge mentor. A lot of the things that we do in practice, a lot of things we do on offense come from Dave. Al Groh, my coach at Virginia, really taught me kind of, how to manage players, because he was an NFL guy, and it was that league's a player-driven league. Just tons of guys that have been really, really influential and very positive in our development. I've been very fortunate to never work for a bad head coach, and a lot of guys can't say that. So I'm just very fortunate to have had those experiences with those guys, and I have relationships with them all where I can pick up the phone and call, for advice, or just, when I'm having tough times. Hey, coach, what did you do when you were in this situation? And all those guys have always been, and I'm very fortunate.
We talk about also now being at Norfolk State with this, successful head football coaching stint, but also a lot of positive things going on at the school. New administration and the new personnel and administration building, new athletic administrators, and new facility upgrades. Certainly, new campus beautification. How has that positively affected the program, and has that been able to, kind of assist you guys in your future vision?
Well, I think we all like new things. And when you get new people, you get new ideas, you get new energy. We've certainly had some great presidents since I've been here. Dr. J gives you a different approach, a different feel. She's, very, very approachable. She understands athletics. She's a student-driven president. When she speaks to me or she speaks to our team, it's always from a place of concern, and you feel good about it. And obviously, Coach Miller in athletics is the one that brought me here, and I was able to spend some time with him the other day. So I still lean on him very heavily. But what Melody Webb and her staff have come, and they brought new energy, new ideas, just a different thought process to doing things. No one's trying to reinvent the wheel. We're just trying to make what we were doing better. And I think you see it all over campus, with new buildings, new facilities, new paint, more students. And I think I don't think our people get enough credit for the way that they've managed a pandemic in terms of the students at our place. I mean, we've had students on campus since September, and we've had very minimal issues, and it's because of the plan that our administration put in place. It's the plan that our athletic administration put in place for our student athletes and the people in residence life and all that. Because believe me, Claudell, if we were having issues, everybody would know. So yeah, I don't think our people on our campus get enough credit for what they've been able to do, but it's exciting to be a part of. And the thing that we want to do is we want to get back into the stadium with the band and just have a good time like we always had. And I think the first time that we're able to get out there and do it like we used to do it, I think it'll be a big day for us all.
There certainly be a lot of anticipation for the team and the program really to take the field. You talked about student as it relates to recruits, student as it relates to the going through this COVID situation, and then being affected by some of these new things. But student experience, it's kind of the key word, and it seems as if those things have changed positively and affected the student experience there positively. So I'm sure you and your staff are happy about that.
It has, but I've got freshmen, who've never been to a basketball game. They've never been to a, what do they call it, a party at Eccles, and all those things that kids come to school for. I mean, they've literally never sat in the dining hall together and had lunch, to be able to look at people as they come in and they go out. And that's difficult. When you've got a freshman on campus, everybody's told them, man, when you get to college, this is what it's going to be like. And those guys haven't had that experience. But I do know that, our student activities people and our dining services people, they've done a wonderful job. And when we do get the chance to get back together, like I said, man, it might be too much for us all.
Well, good. Well, Coach, you talked about, students coming into the program, freshmen coming into the program. We always have, so many young people listening and young coaches listening. What are some of the things that you look for, intangibles even, in the players that you're trying to recruit to your program?
Well, the first thing we want, Claudell, is we want good people. The last thing any of us want to do is have a guy that we have to worry about character issues, a guy that we're going to have to chase around campus. Kids make mistakes and we understand that. But, at the end of the day, the less we have to worry about you, the better. We want guys that are capable students. We don't have to have a team full of 4.0 guys. We want guys that are capable students and guys that want to come to school and get a good education. I want guys that love football. If football is not important to you, you and I probably don't get along very well. If school and football aren't priorities to you, then you and I don't have very much in common. I want guys that are going to be great teammates and, ultimately guys that want to win. And we also look for guys that have had success where they are, guys that are used to winning and guys that are from cultures that, that are used to winning and understand what we're trying to do. Because if you get a ton of guys on your team that have never won, then you can't really expect those guys to want to win and for winning to be as important.
Absolutely. So what would you advise or what advice would you give to high school students, who aspire to play on a college level at any level? What's some of that advice that you would say to them if you were in this live in-person speaking engagement as we wish we were right now?
I think the biggest thing that I advise those guys is to take care of your business, because and know your business better than anybody else does. I hate walking into a school and I ask a guy, Claudell, what's your GPA? And you say all around 2.4, 2.5. That means you don't know your own business, because if you had a 3.5, you tell me that. Well, Coach, I got a 3.5. And I think, knowing your business and take care of your business. And the other thing that's big with me is surround yourself with good people, with like-minded people that have the same goals and aspirations and dreams that you do. Because believe me, that if you hang around people that aren't trying to do the same thing as you're trying to do or something better than you're doing, it's going to take you on a bad path. I tell our staff all the time, guys, if I'm the smartest guy in this room, we're in trouble. If I want to win more than anybody in this room, we're in trouble. So I'm always constantly trying to find Christian Parker, Monterio Hardesty, and those guys that have been here with us that have gone on. And we've got a great group of guys. And we talked about high school coaches, high school players. I like the same qualities in all those people. I want guys that want the best and, guys that are trying to push. To me, sometimes less is more in terms of all the self-promotion and all the broadcasting. Do schoolwork and play, and I promise you we'll find you.
Well, that's great advice to the players. So many coaches listening, and obviously you do a ton of outreach in the community. We'll get to that in a second. But if you were talking to coaches on a high school level or guys finishing up playing college or at assistants other places, and they're trying to advance their careers in college, what advice do you give there? And what do you look for in coaches that you're trying to hire?
Well, I think the thing that I always tell young coaches is spend time around as many coaches as you possibly can. I don't care if it's the guy at Christian Newport or Elizabeth City or Virginia State or Norfolk State or U.Va or Virginia Tech or So many coaches feel like they have to go all over the country and meet, you know, Nick Saban, you know, and that's going to be their opportunity. I think you need to know as many people as you can possibly know in this business, because you and I know, I mean, sports is a business that's based on connections. And I think that the next thing that I'm always looking for is a unique skill set. You know, what can you bring to our room that's not there? We've all got thoughts, we've all got beliefs. You know, we're all, you know, good coaches, but what can you bring to our organization that's not there? You know, and you know, can we depend on you? Can we trust you? You know, are you going to want to come in here and work as hard as you can possibly work to get that? And the other thing is, I tell guys, Claudell, believe me, I've done this job for $600 a month, and I've done it for a lot more a month. And the thing about it, just be willing to do whatever it takes. If you really say you want to get into this business, you can't come into this business and expect to start at the top. Because if you look at every great coach, every legendary coach, those guys have started somewhere very, very low on the totem pole before they ended up, you know, winning national championships and being in the Hall of Fame and all those things. And I caution a lot of young guys, even guys on my staff, you know, hey, you've been doing this for a year. You're not ready to be a coordinator yet, you know. So I think that's just a few things that we're always looking for and trying to advise young guys as they're getting into coaching. But the biggest thing that I tell our guys locally is, man, come and spend time with us, because there's no way that I can hire you if I don't know you.
Good. So you give us a great look into your program, into your hiring practices and disciplinary measures and on campus. But we also know that you are a great community leader and been very active in the NSU community and the regional community. Obviously, COVID has limited golf tournaments and some of the public things that you've done. But how have you creatively continued to be engaged with the NSU community and the regional sports community?
Well, you know, we try to reach out as much as we can. Like I spoke with the Norfolk Sports Club the other day, and you know, just seeing some of the people at the Norfolk Sports Club that you hadn't seen, and you know, sometimes it's kind of humbling, because every time you read something or you look at something, somebody that was there the last time that you were there may not be there now. Especially, you know, some of the older people in the generation. You know, I've made a conscious effort to, you know, our boosters, our people in the Spartan Army, just to reach out and say, hey, look, there's something I can do for you, or, you know, just making a phone call, because those people want to talk about Norfolk State football and they don't usually have the opportunity to. So just trying to stay as engaged, as I said, with the high school coaches, with, you know, with my dry cleaner, you know, just with everybody that you would normally deal with. I talked to Miss Janet over in the bus depot the other day, because you know what, I haven't had to call her because we haven't been on buses. And I think when there are people like that make your program and make your team go, you know, you better stay in touch with them. You know, I called, I think, you know, Wanda over in Park and Service, just because thankfully I hadn't seen her, you know, but, you know, but it's just one of those things, man. And I think that we have to stay engaged as much as we possibly can. And I tell our staff that, you know, when schools call and they want us to read the kids or they want us to do things, we do it, be it Zoom or whatever, because the more people that we can get this Spartan logo in front of, and just understand that we were once in their shoes, or we hope to be in their shoes for the older generation, I think, you know, people appreciate it. And I think it's been very important for me to humanize myself, you know, a lot more, you know, since I've been here, because sometimes you get so wrapped up and caught up in football, people don't really know who you are. So it's been very important for me to create personal relationships with people in this area, because this is a special area. People love sports, and people love Norfolk State. So I mean, I'm glad to be a part of that community.
We talk about the region, we talk about the conference, we talk about NSU, and we've seen a number of schools move from the MEAC and the conference realign. Just very briefly, you know, how has that kind of made you feel, or has that been unsettling, or, you know, how has that changed the vision of NSU football, if any, due to these changes in the conference?
Well, I'm a MEAC guy, Claudell, and I'm a staunch defender of Dr. Thomas and Reno Edito and those guys that are members of the MEAC. And I caution people to think that because teams are leaving, that it's a MEAC issue. I think, you know, when you look at Hampton wanted a different profile, and that's their prerogative. A&T wanted a different profile, and that's their prerogative. When the two teams in Florida left to go to the SWAC, that's a regional and financial fit for them, so it makes sense. You know, that really had nothing to do with the MEAC. I mean, the MEAC tournament, basketball tournament, the numbers are still great, the attendance is still great, you know, but I think a lot of people see change as failure, and that's not the case at all. I mean, there used to be a Big East football conference, you know. If you look at the other day, their teams that left I think the OVC and somewhere else to go to the Atlantic Sun. You know, there's regional movement all over the place, and I don't know where we're going to end up right now. I mean, my focus is the MEAC because that's the conference that I know and love, and you know, I won MEAC championships as a player. I want to win one as a coach, and it's not my decision, you know, based on what will happen. All I want to do is have a conference to play football in, and we have one right now, and that's the MEAC, and I fully support them. But you know, there's anxiety all over the place, but I've got too many other things to worry about in terms of that because I trust our leadership in the MEAC, and I trust our leadership at Norfolk State to make the right decision. But I do always say that you know, people need to realize that just because people are leaving the MEAC doesn't necessarily make it a MEAC problem, and obviously they've got to try to search for solutions to bridge the gap or whatever. But I mean, I'm completely confident in what our guys do at the conference office.
Coach, you've given some valuable insight into your program, the conference office, young men, student athletes, and up-and-coming coaches. But what about Coach Scott? We see so animated sometimes with the officials on the sideline. I don't know if you're giving them positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement, you know, chest bumping and fist bumping with the players. But what kind of makes, to kind of finish this off, what kind of makes Coach Scott tick as it relates to the intensity? And then what are some of your pet peeves with the program, the players, and the coaches?
I mean, I'm just a competitor. I just I compete at everything I do. You know, not being successful and not winning just bothers me. So my pet peeve is not being successful and not winning. You know, and I've had to evolve and grow because we deal with a different generation of people and players now. You know, this isn't a generation to where, so it's not a group of people that you can't interact with. You have to interact. You have to engage. You and I have a personal relationship, so I'll talk to you all day, but there were times where I didn't really want to talk to a ton of people outside of this thing. But I mean, in this business, you have to, because people want to know who you are, and people want to know the personal side of you. So I've been much better with that, and especially with the guys that we coach. I mean, you have to change and you have to adjust, and you have to listen to the music that they play, and you have to understand the language that they talk. And when they send you a text message that's missing 6 or 7 words, you have to be able to dissect that and be able to get back to them. So it's a process, but it's fun, and I think all of us have to evolve and all of us have to learn. And I think Norfolk State's given me the ability to do that, and that's why I mean I'm excited to still be here. You know, this is more than a job for me. I think we've kind of, you know, we've pushed it and pushed it and pushed it, and you know, I've never said it on record until this year, but this is the best team that we've had. And you know, I was looking forward to getting those guys on the field, and hopefully we'll be able to get them on the field, because all the people that have been here and they've supported us. It's important to me that they get the opportunity to see us be successful.
That's huge there, Coach. Continuing that fun, and to kind of end this thing off, we'll give you about 5 or 7 keywords. We know you're quick on your feet on that sideline, so we'll give you about 5 or 7 keywords, and just give us back an answer or a word or two as an answer. So we'll kick it off. All right, Joe Taylor.
Legend.
Marty Miller.
Another legend.
Study hall.
Necessary evil.
Road trips.
What kind?
Long ones. FAMU.
I don't even want to talk about it.
Well, Coach, we appreciate your time this afternoon, man. It's good to have some fun with you again. It's good to reconnect with you, and it's good to you know, really kind of get updated on the program and updated on your world as it relates to NSU football. So we do appreciate it, and kind of hats off to you and your program for what you guys have done through this tough time.
Hey, Claudell, very, very, very appreciative for you having us on, man. It's a great thing that you're doing. You know, we're big supporters of yours, and we appreciate what the Chamber's doing, and I'm glad that everybody's having success. You guys stay safe, and hopefully, man, we can get together this spring, and if not, hopefully definitely in the fall.
Absolutely. We appreciate all those of you who've been live with us. I'd like to thank our sponsors again: Atlantic Bay Mortgage, Town Bank, Pepsi, CHKD Sports Medicine, and the Hampton Roads Chamber. Also our municipal partners, City of Norfolk, City of Chesapeake, and City of Virginia Beach, who have graciously supported us to do this. Tune in next month as we roll out business leaders in our region to talk about the economic impact on sports in the region. Again, thanks to all of you. Please stay safe. Coach Scott, best of luck to you and your program. And thank you again.
Thank you. Take care.
All right. Bye.